This is a retro database with all the data taken from Football Manager 2008 and reapplied into this year's FM24 by the mad scientists. Of course, this is a database that we are using in the Glory Hunter Challenge with my dad, which you should be checking out. But it gets even better when you find out that all of the players that you know that are around today will spawn into the game as new gens in the correct time frame they should do in real life. So I'm going to simulate this database all the way through to what would be present day in 2024 and then beyond to see what happens and what is different. So make sure you are subscribed because you don't want to miss any other uploads just like this one. Starting off a year into the future, and the Premier League is won by Manchester United with Cristiano Ronaldo dominating the player statistics with goals and a high average rating. There was surprisingly quite a lot of managerial changes and a lot of good managers coming into the league, including Louis van Gaal, Ralph Hasenhüttl coming in earlier, and even Tony Adams. Lothar Matthäus even came in to Middlesbrough and was then sacked yet again. Barcelona absolutely dominated Spain, only losing one match all season away to Mallorca. Real Madrid still finished in second place, somewhat far behind Barcelona, but the player statistics was quite interesting. David Villa with 22 goals was the top scorer of the league, with Milito from Zaragoza in second. It isn't until you get to average rating where you see some familiar names for that Barcelona side, with Ronaldinho and a young Lionel Messi, 20 years of age and looking absolutely incredible, with of course the two playmakers in Xavi and Iniesta in the highest assists across the league. In the other leagues that we have loaded, we've got Lyon winning the top division in France by 20 points. In the Serie A, it was won by Inter Milan, with Juve coming in second place, only just behind them though on 89 points. David Trezeguet leading the line in the goal scoring department there. But one of my favourite players, Kaká. Yes, he is at AC Milan and he looks absolutely incredible. But this is a little bit interesting. Lionel Messi actually moved clubs during the season to Inter Milan for just 18 million. So, I mean, there's some prices that might be a little bit wrong in this database in the early stages, because that is an absolute steal. Surprisingly, Schalke put up quite a good fight against Bayern Munich, but didn't manage to cross the line as champions as they won on goal difference. Miroslav Klose, with 21 goals, was the leading goal scorer of the league, but that was the same amount as Sergi Barbares, who did manage to get the same for Schalke. And there are a few names in this division who might be leaving soon, in the likes of Oliver Kahn, who is now 38 years old. Now, as we know, in 2008, Manchester United defeated Chelsea in the Champions League final, and that almost happened this year if it wasn't for the fact that Lyon turned up and beat Manchester United in the semi-final, going on to face Chelsea and unfortunately losing for them 2-1 in that final. But what's the weirdest thing about this is Chelsea don't have a manager, and that's because they sacked Avram Grant after he won the Champions League. Already transfer-wise, there's some funny stuff going on, including Adrian Mutu going to Arsenal. Obviously, he was at Chelsea at one point before drugs ruined his life. The likes of Joaquin and Ron Vlaar have also moved clubs. But in the January transfer window, when we see Messi move to Inter Milan, we also had Lorik Cana move to Inter Milan too. They're picking up an unbelievable team. Cesc Fabregas has moved to AC Milan and he looks absolutely incredible as well. So he moved a little bit earlier than what he did in real life. Joe Cole went to Barcelona, probably replacing Lionel Messi, and Gattuso also went to Barcelona. Sergio Ramos moved to Chelsea and then obviously won the Champions League. So there's lots of movements going on here in that first season. They even picked up Nemanja Vidic from Manchester United as well. We'll quickly fly by year two because the same winners seem to win the top 5 leagues at least, including the French league and the Bundesliga. But if we go to the Portuguese league, Porto won this year, Benfica won it the season previously. And in the Coca-Cola Championship, we can see after going down last season, Middlesbrough are champions and they return back to the Premier League. But Chelsea are dominating Europe because that's back-to-back Champions League wins. Once again in the semi-final, Manchester United are losing. Inter Milan were absolutely destroyed by Chelsea 4-0 in the other semi-final, but that is pretty insane. So who is the manager now of Chelsea? It's Carlo Ancelotti. What a surprise. He eventually, of course, goes to Chelsea, but as one of the best managers on the game, moving to Chelsea, they have become an absolute force now. But they couldn't win the Premier League, and no, it's not Sir Alex Ferguson in charge of Manchester United. It's actually somebody a lot closer to home for Chelsea. It was in fact Jose Mourinho who took over the managerial job after Sir Alex Ferguson decided to leave, which meant He is now a director of football unemployed. He's basically retired, which is a shame. Obviously, in real life, he would go on for a lot longer, but he decided to leave. Jose Mourinho has come in and won a Premier League straight away with Manchester United. There was some huge transfers though to talk about. We got Michael Essien moving to Inter Milan, Kolo Touré moving to Real Madrid, Kaká is at Barcelona instead of Real Madrid. And actually, that might be a better move for him now that Lionel Messi's gone as well. £89 million, and he's probably one of the best attacking midfielders on the game in the world. And into the next year, from the January transfer window, we have Andrés Guardado moving from Deportivo to Bayern Munich. This is at the time that Andrés Guardado was a wonder kid on the game, and it definitely shows there. Chelsea could not be stopped in season number 3, though. They won the Premier League with 81 points. Tottenham finished in second place with Louis van Gaal still as their manager, and Manchester United are in third place. And wouldn't you know it, they've just sacked Jose Mourinho. Not a lot of other changes happened in the other leagues, but Barcelona won after extra time in the Champions League final against Inter Milan. In the following couple of seasons, nothing really changed. So what I've done is I've jumped forward 5 more years. Now, on the face of it, it doesn't look like a lot has changed. However, if you dive a little bit deeper, we've got Tottenham here in second place. That's actually a regular occurrence. They finished runners-up 3 times in a row. But look who finished runners-up in the 27-28 season, which, from simulating it, was about 5 years, 3-4 years. Reading. Reading actually have an unbelievable team, and look who they've got as their key player, Neymar. Come through as a new gen, of course, as you can see, 23 years of age now. He actually went to Arsenal at one point for £22 million, but Reading have just paid £107 million for Neymar. Reading. I think so far that is the weirdest thing that has happened in this database. Now again, we're about 8 years into the future. We finally got what actually was that Champions League final in what should have been the first season between Manchester United and Chelsea, and Manchester United are the winners. They've actually won a couple since we last left, but so have Inter Milan. Real Madrid's picked up another. We've even had Roma, Valencia in a final, as well as, of course, Lyon. Other things which are quite interesting to have a look at is the Balon d'Or, because there are a few winners which never managed to pick one up, and there's very much a lack of Lionel Messi. So Cristiano Ronaldo picked up 3 of the first 4, but Thierry Henry has actually picked up 2 with his time at Barcelona. David Villa is amazing, and I wish he actually won one in real life, and he did here in that Valencia side. But David Silva, playing for Inter Milan, is the most recent Balon d'Or winner, and there's a couple of recognisable faces in the second and third place. Of course, we got Edinson Cavani here, who's at Juventus, which is a bit of a shock there at 27 years of age, and Mateus Fernandes, who I remember back in this game was incredible, and he is looking at this. Obviously, he starts at Villarreal in this database, and he is absolutely insane, and he stayed there, the Chilean. But as you go through, Joe Cole finished in second place, Lucho Gonzalez in third, David Villa almost got one, Joaquin managed to get one at 30 years of age. Miroslav Klose and Zlatan are in the running there. We've had a few very recognisable names, but Lionel Messi is not one of them. The only time he come close is the 25-26 season where he finished runners-up. He is now at Chelsea, age 27. And I do think he hasn't quite grown to his full development that he should be at. Obviously, there's a lot of 20s, but the lack of composure is quite frightening there. £99 million he moved from Inter Milan to Chelsea, which you're getting Lionel Messi for £99 million. It doesn't actually seem that bad either, does it? But the fact that Inter Milan only paid £20 million for him, that is remarkable. Going on, who is basically the highest value transfers, and again, some of them obviously have a not for sale, and these are obviously really hard to find out who is the best players in there. But if you're going on who currently is for sale, Anderson, who of course was at Manchester United, was touted to be one of the best players in the future at the time. Obviously, it didn't span out like that, but he was at Real Madrid, and he looks really good there. Cavani is there. David Silva, who's just won the Balon d'Or, age 29. Jesus Navas is still at Sevilla here. Then we've got some recognisable names like Lionel Messi. Augusto Fernandes at age 29 is up there too. Cesc Fabregas is at Barcelona. Wayne Rooney is actually at Real Madrid now, so he's moved from Manchester United for £138 million. There was talks of that happening in real life. Aguero went to Chelsea. We've got Bojan, who was supposed to be a bit of a wonder kid back then too. Never really panned out. Ended up playing at Stoke. He actually looks almost as good as what Messi does, so that's actually quite frightening. One of my favourite players growing up, especially in these types of databases, is Marek Hamšík, and you can see here what a midfielder Marek Hamšík was. We've had 2 World Cups since. France won the first one in 2026, and Argentina won the second one in 2030. In the Euros, things are looking a little bit different as well. The European Championship, Spain won that one, which I think they would have won the 2012 one, which would have been the same one as that. And Portugal there won the very first Euros that we come across, which I believe was the 2008 Euros. I always find that a lot of the interesting stuff is looking at where players go instead of what happened in real life, such as Theo Walcott here actually moved from Manchester City to Inter Milan. So the fact he went to Manchester City is quite interesting. It was just 3.2, but they sold him for £133 million. Now, I'm not quite sure whether they have the in the database that they will get a tycoon takeover, but they seem to have been doing quite well anyway. They're in 6th in the Premier League now with some key players like Gerard Piqué, which is actually quite annoying considering he started off at Manchester United, but there we go. Oscar's actually a new gen, so he's just come through the database 23. They're similar to Neymar in that situation, but he's actually gone to Chelsea where he was supposed to go after a quick trip to Real Madrid and didn't really play there that much. Montolivo's there. He was quite good in his day, wasn't he? He's at 30 years of age now playing for Arsenal. Hatem Ben Arfa's at Real Madrid, what could have been, I guess, for him. Mika Richards going for £67 million eventually to Italy is also quite interesting. And Mario Götze, of course, would have been a World Cup winner around about now. Has managed to come into the game at 23 years of age and go for a lot of money there to Chelsea. But as we go down through the years, again, there's so many interesting transfers that have happened. Yaya Toure gone to Reading for £58 million. And then as you keep going down through the years, you'll see so many funny ones that this is just the best thing to do in these databases. Just simulate in the future and see what happens before you actually play, just because it's enjoyable to look at. I've time jumped a little bit further this time. I've gone to what would be present day if it was the start of this season. Obviously, we're already halfway through a season. I want to see what happens up until the start of this season. And it's already a little bit weird, such as Jude Bellingham being really bang average and still at Birmingham, aged 19, and he's just never really lit anything up. I mean, he actually started with Birmingham in the Premier League, but he never had a game there. He's just played a few games again in the Championship, so that's kind of disappointing. It seems like every good new gen eventually goes to Chelsea, like Erling Haaland. Now, he went directly to Chelsea from the starting club. He didn't go to Dortmund or Salzburg halfway through. He went directly to Chelsea and has never really been given the game time. And this is, again, going to cause bad development because he isn't actually that bad, but if he played, he'd probably be a lot better. What is different in that scenario is Kylian Mbappe. He was given the game time and he's probably one of the best players in the world right now, especially up front. He is wanted by Chelsea, so let's not hope that happens, and again Manchester United as well. But at 24 years of age, he's been at Inter Milan for 3 seasons after moving for £73 million directly from Monaco. So again, no movement in between. He's just come off probably his best season, 22 goals in 27 games, so it's a good start for Kylian Mbappe. The leagues are looking a little bit weird though, because Tottenham Hotspur are champions of the Premier League, and that's a little bit weird. It's the second time that they've won it after Chelsea have been dominating. But last season, Bolton Wanderers was also the runner-up, which is a little bit strange, and Callum Wilson was actually their main striker, and he looks absolutely phenomenal, so it's no surprise why they've managed to do so well. But Chelsea's dominance obviously has been happening because they've got a lot of money. Carlo Ancelotti seems to have been there the whole time. He's literally been there 14 years now, so they've actually stuck with their manager, and look how many times he's won something. 14 cup wins, and there's a few Champions Leagues in there as well as 8 league wins since joining Chelsea for 14 seasons. So that is absolutely really impressive, and that's maybe what Chelsea should have done, and they would have kept on top. But Manchester United have been dotted around there, Arsenal as well, but they have really dominated the Premier League. In Serie A, it's Juve who have been in charge, and the past winners, it looks like they've only just won it because Inter Milan has been dominating with Roma dotted around there as well. Inter Milan have just dropped off and finished in second place. Well, actually, it looks like they've got to play some kind of playoff, I guess, to determine who wins that one. But what's quite funny is that Dusan Vlahovic has actually ended up at Juventus when he doesn't actually start there, but that's where he plays right now. So some things like that always happen. I always find it really funny when that does happen. In the other leagues, let's have a look at the Spanish First Division, La Liga. Real Madrid have won it off the back of 5-time winners Barcelona in a row, but Villarreal has just finished in second place. We've seen Villarreal with some good players previously. Jeremy Pino is still at the club and now classed as their key player, kind of like real life too. But this Real Madrid side is a little bit different than what you'd expect. Dybala is their key player there. And if we go by tactic, we can have a look at some of their players. Higuain is still there. Mane, Anderson is still playing at age 35 as one of the best players in the game. Rudiger, funny enough, goes to Real Madrid as he does in real life, which is quite strange. Koulibaly, Mikalenko, some familiar names, especially on the bench as well. So it's good to see that when that happens. But Barcelona's team, after being dominating for so long, under Brendan Rodgers, really? Yep, they've actually won stuff under Brendan Rodgers. They've had Simeone there. Frank Rijkaard was there for quite a while, 5 years in total. But they've got the likes of Toni Kroos, Donny van der Beek, Heung-min Son. I'm guessing that's Bernardo Silva. It is Bernardo Silva. So, again, some really interesting names coming through in that Barcelona lineup. Other divisions then, up until present day, Bayern Munich have won every single Bundesliga, which makes it rather boring. In Ligue 1, we probably never have PSG winning anything. Instead, it's been traded between Lens and Lyon, which makes quite an interesting alternate universe. In the Portuguese league, it has been dominated mainly by Porto, but Sporting and Benfica have got a couple in there themselves. But let's have a look at the Champions League, the creme de la creme of European football. Inter Milan seem to have won it. It looks like Italian football and English football has been quite good in terms of Champions League wins. Inter, Roma, Manchester United and Tottenham there. Real Madrid have been getting a couple every now and then. Barcelona have got one there too. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it's been waving from really those three nations. Now, the last time we looked at the Balon d'Or, David Silva had just won at Inter Milan, and it's been a little bit different since. Giuseppe Rossi picked one up with Anderson and Wayne Rooney in second, third place. That's like an all Manchester United lineup there, but none of them actually played for Man United at the time that they were there. Cesc Fabregas won the Balon d'Or in 2032 with Ronaldo second and Bojan third. Sergio Aguero at Chelsea managed to win it with Marquisio at Roma finishing second. Anderson popping up again. Wayne Rooney was at Real Madrid when he won one with Giuseppe Rossi finishing second place. Then it looks like we have a new gen which isn't one of the new gen real players that's come through, so that's surprising to see that. Bojan second, Giuseppe Rossi. Samir Nasri picked one up, age 32, which was quite interesting, really. Again, with that guy finishing second place, Bojan finishing third. He then won it again with Neymar finishing in second place, Bojan finishing third. And this current Ballon d'Or winner is Frankie de Jong at Chelsea with Neymar in second, with that other Croatian in third place. So Frankie de Jong going to Chelsea, no shock there, £98 million after he's had a bit of a journeyman career so far, quite early on, considering he's only 26 years old. World Cup's actually been quite boring. It's literally been dominated between France and Argentina, and it seems like they've actually met each other in the final a couple of times as well. European football in the Euros was won by Germany, but France won it the previous time in 2032. But according to this database, what does the future look like for the next 10 years? That have not happened yet. Will we still see Manchester City winning some trebles or dominating world football? Are we going to see the likes of Jude Bellingham spurt out a World Cup or two for England? I very much doubt it, considering what's happened so far. Well, another 10 seasons on, I'm actually quite surprised. Manchester United are champions, Tottenham in second place, so that doesn't look too different to when we left it 10 seasons ago. But if you look at the past winners, it has been a little different. Manchester City has actually won 2 Premier Leagues, and that seems to be without the tycoon takeover. I mean, we can check that. Diego Simeone is in charge, and if you go to finances, they did have a tycoon in 2043. So a lot longer it took for that to happen in real life, but eventually they actually got a tycoon takeover, even in Football Manager, when it wasn't set to what they had in real life. But Manchester have dominated the last 5 seasons there in the Premier League. In La Liga, we've seen a few new winners, included in Sevilla and Villarreal, who's actually won 3 there in between Real Madrid wins, and Barcelona have just won 3 on the bounce. So it has been a little bit different, but if you look at it on that part, it doesn't. You don't think nothing's changed. However, as you can see, it actually has. The likes of Phil Foden is at Real Madrid, age 33, and has been playing there for a long time after his original spell at Manchester City, a £151 million move to Real Madrid. Across the other leagues, let's look to Italy first, and you can see Juve have just won it after Inter Milan have dominated it in previous seasons. In Ligue 1, we can see Lyon are still winning it, to be fair. Saint Etienne have got in there, Monaco have got in in there, really, but Lyon has pretty much dominated it. No sign of PSG, which is quite refreshing, really. The Bundesliga, though, unfortunately, it's Bayern Munich and nobody else. They've literally won about 25 in a row, and they even have Endrick, who's come through, and they signed, even after he went to Liverpool to begin with, for £64 million. Bayern Munich managed to pick them up. So that's a little bit boring in the Bundesliga. The Portuguese league is just coming off the back of Porto winning 4 on the bounce before Benfica won 3 on the bounce. So Porto are current champions of Portugal, with Sporting finishing in 2nd place, Benfica finishing in 3rd. But let's take a look at the Champions League and see who's been winning that. So far, it's 3 on the bounce for Manchester clubs. Man City have won 2 Champions Leagues in a row, with Manchester United finishing in 3rd place there. Juve finishing runners-up 2 seasons running. Mallorca finishing runners-up in 2046. That's a nice little bit of change. It's a shame they couldn't win it, because there's no real interesting winners. It's kind of as you'd expect. I think Roma really is the only one there that is surprising. Man City being kind of surprising is funny to say, because they don't start with a Tycoon takeover, but the fact that they get one and then win the Champions League is kind of hilarious. Ballon d'Or. Let's check the Ballon d'Or. Now, we're going to see a few players that we're not going to recognise, but Mbappe is there at Manchester United, winning one there, so that's interesting. Tom Davidson, who's an Englishman, playing at Barcelona. Erling Haaland was 2nd place. Let's check his career out. He is 32 at Juve. He went to West Ham. The Hammers had Erling Haaland for a bit, and that's when his season really kicked on. He was given 35 games, 12 goals, and that spelled a £40 million move the next season to Juve, where he got 20 goals in 27 games, and that really kicked him on. So he's probably got West Ham to thank for actually salvaging his career after Chelsea kind of ruined it. Zaniolo is also at Juve and been playing really well. He never went to Villa, though. He went to Palermo after Roma, then went directly to Juventus. David Sanchez looks like it's a new gen that we're not going to recognise. He's now a coach as well. Mbappe's there, finishing in 2nd and 3rd. Dybala, Rafael Leao, who was at Barcelona. Frankie de Jong was the last one we've seen, so Mbappe was the first one after that. World Cup-wise, we've finally seen England win one in 2042, but France won the one right after that, so it's good to see my home country win one, but no recognisable players other than Trent, I guess. So no Jude Bellingham. Let's see what happened to Jude Bellingham and his career. We've seen the other two there. He is at Palermo, and I'll tell you what, I'm actually a little bit surprised at how well he has developed after we've seen what he did previously. It does seem like his career really spurred on after his move to Sheffield United for £23 million, eventually going to Palermo for £16 million. Now, there is a couple of world-class players that we're really familiar with in the present day that we haven't come across yet in this database and have already retired. So I will go back and look for the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah and players like that who never really popped up on the database. But let's have a look at where certain players are right now. So the first player I recognise, Victor Osimhen, is at Barcelona, age 34. De Ligt is at Real Madrid, as well as Rafael Leao at Manchester United, we've already seen. But you go down a little bit further, Camavinga ended up going to Real Madrid, as he does in real life, but he had a couple of stops on the way to Real Madrid. Trent at Chelsea is quite frustrating to see how many players that they've actually bought. Gavi's at Manchester United, Mariba at Inter Milan, Zaire Emery's at Manchester United too. Kai Havertz at Newcastle, as well as Yusufa Moukoko. Donnarumma stayed at AC Milan instead of betraying them and leaving. Naipan's even at Manchester United, and as you go down, you can see even the likes of Lamine Yamal is in the database at Tottenham Hotspur. So 10 years on in the future, will he end up going to Tottenham? I very much doubt it by the looks of it. Declan Rice went to Chelsea. Again, very frustrating. They just seem to pick up every single player, but he went through 4 seasons in a row where he moved clubs, took a gap and stayed at Middlesbrough for 2 seasons, then went to Villa before making a £101 million move to Chelsea. What a career. How many times he moved. Bukayo Saka never left Arsenal. Dane Scarlett never left Tottenham. Ansu Fati's at Juventus. Even Mason Greenwood's still at Manchester United there. João Neves at AC Milan. The list goes on. Phil Foden, of course, that we've seen at Real Madrid. But let's have a look to see where certain players went. Liverpool fans, prepared to be sick because Mohamed Salah is at Manchester United, age 34, and he has been there pretty much his whole career. After moving for 190k in his second season from the Egyptian side he spawns at, and he has absolutely crushed it at Manchester United, which yeah, I'm guessing you're not too pleased about. Van Dijk, however, he is at Villarreal, so not quite as good as career as what Mohamed Salah had. However, he did go to Newcastle and play in the Premier League for a very long time and putting in some good performances. I don't think he won as much as what he did at Liverpool though. Lionel Messi is now a manager, but he is unemployed. But his history, you can see he ended his career at Chelsea after that £99 million move. Didn't even play in the last couple of seasons, which is a shame, I guess. But yeah, he had a good run in the Premier League, but never really made a difference compared to Cristiano Ronaldo, who of course won a few Balon d'Ors. History definitely changed there. He just retired completely, and if you have a look, he ended up just staying at Manchester United and played for 461 games since we started that simulation. So there we have it. I'm sure I've missed somebody that you guys wanted to have a look, but take a look at that database yourself from the Mad Scientist. It's absolutely incredible, especially when you just let it holiday overnight and check out to see what happens. So many interesting things that you can pick up and find, especially if you add that new gen database where they all spawn through. It's a lot of fun. Make sure you are subscribed, because potentially me and Dad may do more things on these databases, including the Glory Hunter video that we have started on this database. So go check out episode 1. I've left it on the screen for you right now. Thank you very much.